Hey, what's going on, viewers of the Fantasy Flavor Podcast? My name is Dylan, and we're back here with the whole squad. That's right. We got 1, 2, 3 of us here today, ready to talk some fantasy football, Dynasty fantasy football. We got some names here for you. We got some N'Keal Harry, DK Metcalf, some other rookie wide receivers. We also got those rookie tight ends. We got TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant. Some pretty cool names we're going to be talking about here today, so I recommend you stay tuned here. I'm back, like I said earlier, with Trenton and Sinatons finally back. How are we doing today, my friend?
I'm
Faces of friends.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty hot. Like, I'm hot as fuck right now. Oh god, I wasn't supposed to say that. But yeah, I'm pretty hot right now. I'm just here recording the pod in minimal clothing because it's 90 degrees outside at 9:24 p.m. here in New England. How else would I want to live?
You know, Sanat, you've been gone so long, he's starting to call himself hot now. I don't know what's up with that.
Uh, I'm not
On,
just hot.
only him can call himself hot. No
Oh
one
yeah,
else is
he's
going
just
to.
he's just
So,
looking in the mirror, and then
mm,
then he walks out, and
I mean, no one else does.
totally
So he
different
has to
story.
do
He
it
doesn't do
himself.
that anywhere else.
Dude, all the ladies think I'm hot too. All right, guys, leave it in the comments section if Dylan is he hot or not? Hot
Oh
or
my
not?
God,
Drop it
you,
in the comments.
your confidence
That's
is
a
going to get
fat
so
no.
low now. You'll get such bad comments. You'll see.
All right, what's gonna be lower? My confidence after the comment section or Trenton's record in fantasy this league? Dude, why can't I
Which
English
league?
when I make a roast? Oh,
Which
all of them, dude. You're gonna suck.
which league? Which league?
We'll make a bet. We'll do GOAT.
Okay, the viewers are not here.
Okay.
The listeners are not here to listen to our trash talk. We can do that later.
Oh, but
Let's
that's the
roll.
fun part.
Yeah, wait. You don't want to have fun on a podcast? All right, so
Oh,
Nathan, I think you
he's been
gotta
gone
go,
too
dude.
long. He's been
Yeah,
gone too long.
you
He's
don't
out.
realize what we talk about. Um,
Okay.
okay,
Okay,
so
I'll play along.
let's cut the fluff. Let's start breaking it down. Dynasty, rookie, wide receivers, and tight ends. Now, before I want to start talking about specific players, for myself, I kind of want to talk a little bit more generally. Honestly, in rookie drafts, personally, and you can agree or disagree with me here, unless it's a special talent like N'Keal Harry, for example, I normally don't try to buy these wide receivers and tight ends because they take a while to truly take the first step into the NFL and truly blossom, like the draft capital might be. Just longer positions, tight end, wide receiver, both that take a while for them to honestly fully start outputting great numbers compared to running backs who just come in as rookies and light it up. What are your kind of thoughts on just drafting rookie wide receivers and tight ends and rookie drafts, guys?
I have the same exact thought as you. I really don't try to draft the rookie wide receivers. For example, I'll give you an example that Gallup. Last year he was going like mid first or say 108 or something. And this year I could buy him for his 2019 second. So late second that too. So you can understand that how the value of wide receivers go down after a year, and then you can buy them. And whereas the running backs, it might go high or low depending on how risky the running back is. But again, I would always prefer running backs.
Right, and I'm gonna have a bold take. Honestly, I think the 2020 wide receiver class is pretty good. The 2019 wide receiver class is pretty good. And it has some good depth, but the 2020 class I think is better. And then the 2021 class of wide receivers I think is one of the best we'll see in a while. So this year is just going to be it's not going to be bad for the wide receivers, rookie wide receivers, but I don't think it'll be as good as what we'll see here in the near future.
Yeah, 100%. We all know Trenton here is looking towards 2021 because he's going to be owning probably the 101 that year because, Trenton, what can we
Mm.
say? I guess, since
I'll
we're
buy it
talking
off
a
of
little...
you, right?
No, dude. I don't own those anymore. I trade them away because I'm not good, right? But one more question before we start breaking down specific players. We talked a little bit about these late bloomers, or kind of maybe those year 3 breakouts, maybe year 4, maybe year 2. Just kind of those late bloomers. What's one wide receiver or tight end from this class that you think is going to be a late bloomer? We'll start off with you, Trent.
A late bloomer from this wide receiver tight end class. I will go with Hakeem Butler because
Okay.
I really liked his skill set coming out of college. I really liked him as a player. Honestly, I would have drafted him in the NFL draft. I was thinking he'd go late round 1, early round 2, and he ended up dropping even further. But I love his skill set, and I think he really has the potential. He just needs to get settled in that offense. I think he'll do fine year 1 in that air raid offense that they're going to be playing, but I think it'll be more year 2, year 3 where he will break out and actually start playing really well. He'll either be the number 2 option behind Christian Kirk, or he could even be the number 1 guy on that offense for Kyler Murray.
All right. How about you, Sanatan?
So we are talking here like the top wide receivers, right? Because if you go deep, then of course most of them will be late bloomers, if any.
Sure.
But yeah, I think AJ Brown may be one of them because I think the QB um, that he has, Mariota, either he will suck this year and will be replaced next year, or he will not have enough opportunities this year because they don't throw much. So maybe he might be one of those cases. The other could be Deontay Johnson from Steelers.
Those are some good ones. Definitely stay tuned if you want to hear more AJ Brown analysis. That could be coming up soon when we do some Titans talk. Do we want to hear what I have to say, or do we want to move on?
No, sure. Why don't you say it
Yeah,
for
go
yourself?
ahead.
Okay. Well, I was gonna actually do something bold here. I actually think he's my rookie wide receiver too, but I think he's gonna have a pretty slow start to his career. So I might wanna. I don't know what to think about Paris Campbell. Well, that's who it is because he's in such a crowded offense that Trent keeps telling me trying to hype up Marlon Mack. They're gonna run it so much. They're gonna run it so much. They're gonna run it so much, right?
That's
I kind
what
of
their
just
coach has been saying. They're
yeah.
going to try to run the ball, be a top 5 rushing offense. Try to.
So where's going to be the room for Paris Campbell? You got Devin Funchess there, who's not great, but he's not bad either. You have T.Y. Hilton there. He's going to get his. Eric Ebron, Jack Doyle, Naheen Hines even gets some. Marlon Mack can catch too. There's just so many options in Indy that it could take him a while. But I
But
think
there,
he's going to work out.
but
But,
Dylan, there are talks that he will take up targets from Naeem Hines, and then who is the wide receiver too? Funches for one
I,
year maybe. So
I could
next
argue
year,
Funchess is for a year. Well,
yeah,
definitely next year because I don't know after, depends if they re-sign him. But I could definitely see myself buying Paris Campbell next draft class with how much hype he has for a 2020 second. And I think he's
yeah,
going to work out because there's a study done, and it showed that rookie wide receivers drafted in, I think it's the first through the third round. It might even be just second and third. I can't exactly remember. But their hit rate is 70% when they're tethered to an elite quarterback or something insane like that. And Paris Campbell meets that. So I definitely think he's really a project too. That's the other thing. He just is kind of his yards per target just really is depth of target yards, or I don't know terms, right?
depth
Just
is
pretty
correct.
low. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty low, right? He's kind of just more of a gadget guy right now, so he might take a while to get acclimated. He may have designed touches, but I don't know if they're going to design them 60 plus touches. That he's actually going to not only just be designed for him, that he'll actually receive, you know what I mean? A play could break down the wrong way. So we'll see. I want to start moving on here and talking about the people we want to go a little more in depth with, if that's okay. Are we ready for that, folks?
Yep.
yes.
All right. I think I want to start off here with pick 32 overall of the 2019 NFL Draft. My pre-draft 101, N'Keal Harry, wide receiver of the New England Patriots. I assume he's going to be our wide receiver 1 in rookie drafts, like all of us. It'd be crazy not to, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to start off talking a little bit about what they like about Harry, what they don't like about Harry?
You wanna start, Renton?
Sure. I like Harry. I like his game. I like his style. I like his offensive fit. Is the only thing kind of holding me back from taking him like highly, like as the 101. I'd take him in the top 4, but the only thing holding me back from taking him with the number 1 pick is Tom Brady and the fact that he's aging and we don't know how long he'll be in the league. Brady's a great quarterback, but as we all have seen with many teams, namely the Browns, it can take ages for you to go from a good quarterback to finding another quarterback, and in that time span, your team will struggle with finding another quarterback. So, sure, they could find a good one right away to fill Brady's shoes, but I'm kind of not sold on Harry being a long-term guy. If they can't find another quarterback, I don't know how well he will perform.
Do we mind if I hop in here just because I wanted to kind of refute that point?
Yes.
First things first, I always like just being honest with everybody. So I'm a Patriots fan, so I just want everyone to keep that in mind. But I'm going to try to be as non-biased here as I can. When we look back at the Patriots quarterback play, what is the one thing people just harp on Tom Brady for that is arguably justifiable, right? He's a system guy, right? You can bring in Matt Castle to go 11-5. Jacoby Brissett looked really good under the New England system. Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe more of a stretch, but the point still stands, right? I mean, they're great at developing quarterback talent, or at least making quarterbacks look good under that system. And I feel like it's unfair. Hold up, and I'll get back to you here. Just compare them to the Browns, right? That's like the worst case scenario. That's like, I guess the top like 1% like best scenario would be like, I don't know, you draft like the next Aaron Rodgers when they have like or a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then the worst case scenario would be the Browns, right? That's just fair. But overall, it doesn't have to be like a great quarterback either. It just has to be a quarterback because the system's going to do a lot there.
But even if you consider Brady just as a system quarterback, he's a really good system quarterback. He fits in that system. And with all those other quarterbacks you said, with Castle and Brissett and all those other guys that filled in, Garoppolo, all those guys, when they started filling in for that offense, their offense switched from more of a passing-based offense. They went to a running-based offense, and their running back room is extremely deep, and all their guys are talented enough to be really good starters, even. So they didn't need to rely on quarterback play, and that's what carried their teams when they didn't have Brady. So I don't know. I'm not sure what will happen after Brady leaves, if they will find another quarterback that they can put the offensive load onto and see where it goes from there. I'm just not sold.
Yeah. In my opinion, talent, I think we all think he's talented, and we'll hear what Sonata has to think here. Talent's going to perform no matter what. We saw DeAndre Hopkins with like the worst quarter, kind of a bad example because Hopkins is one of the best. But you know what I mean? If he's truly talented, and New England should get a lot out of him, talent's going to shine. So, Sanatsan, do you agree with what he said? Do you agree with what I said?
I actually agree with Dylan 100% that New England is all about the system and Brady is a system quarterback. But
That's not what I said.
no,
No,
okay.
no, my
I
heart,
okay,
my heart.
I
No,
added that
no,
thing
Hey,
no.
if
because I
somebody can
hate New England.
take that sound bite and just like send it to us so we can play it over and over again for Dylan
On the
of,
voice
of him saying
recording.
that Tom Brady was a system quarterback.
No,
Yeah,
that's not what I said. That's not
but
what I
again, you
said.
said that they could bring Matt Castle or anyone and they go 11-5. What does that say about Tom Brady? You can understand.
Those
Anyways,
guys want
so
to perform in the playoffs when it matters most. But
they
talk
did not
Harry,
get a
talk
chance.
Harry.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, again, with Harry, he is a great talent. He has the size and the speed. The one telling thing is that he is very good after the catch, and that's a very uh, good indication of how uh, great a wide receiver can be in NFL. It has been seen that yards after catch is a very good indication. So Harry can be good at that. The only thing is that he does not separate well, but in contested catches is very good. So he could be a boom bust guy. That's the only problem I have with Harry, is that he could be a boom bust guy, not many receptions, but more touchdown dependent, someone like Alshon Jeffrey or something.
Yeah, I think Alshon Jeffrey isn't a terrible comp either. Granted, I
Yeah.
think he has more yak than a guy like Jeffrey does.
Yes, he
Especially if
does.
you look at Jeffrey like now, Mr. Drop It in the playoffs. Oops, sorry, Eagles fans. But just moving on, I know I'm a little different. I know Harry isn't your guys' 101, and he's my 101 unless you're like heavily RB needy. And I'll just explain why. And I'm just curious if you guys agree. I think he's the only prospect in this class that I'm confident in that will truly be successful. Like I can put it like, if I'm putting money down on one player to be successful, other than a QB in just regular formats, it's N'Keal Harry. His college dominator rating and breakout age, I believe, of the top 24 wide receivers this year, like 80% of them met both kind of like a threshold of over a certain breakout age and college dominator. He met them both easily. He crushed them both. So he's indicative that he's going to be successful for years and years and years to come. I just like him. I think Josh Jacobs could bust due to the statistical profile. David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, they could share it for a while. Miles Sanders, you know what I mean? There's just so many question marks. Do you guys kind of agree that he's the best prospect in this class? Maybe disregarding the QB position, because I think we're just talking standard, not super flex here. Or do we disagree and it's somebody else?
He has the. I mean, you are right in that he's the best prospect. But again, New England does not give a fuck about where you are drafted or how talented you are. They are like a very, um, what do you call it? Their culture is much more important to them than anything else. And what happens if screws it up and suddenly he's in the doghouse of Bill Belichick? What happens then? I mean, there's more risk too with New England. That's why people don't want to draft New England players in fantasy. So again, yeah, this class is not great, and Harry is the best in. He has the least number of question marks among all the players in this class. That I will agree to.
How about you, Trent?
Right. I see. At the same time, he's not even going to be the number one wide receiver on that offense right away, at least, because you still got Julian Edelman there.
Yes.
You know.
Plenty of targets to go around, though. I think there's around 200, so he could still get 100 plus.
Right, but still, when you're looking at that offense, whenever you talk to somebody about the Patriots offense, it's about how much they spread the ball around and that nobody gets enough touches to really be fantasy relevant. Other
Yes.
than Gronk was that
And
that
Sony
guy.
Michel and James White.
Right,
I think you're talking about from a game to big game basis, right?
Right, I mean they're all consistent, but nobody's gonna have a big breakout game, and if they do, which rarely happens, usually you don't see much for them other than that one big game. It's just I don't know. You won't. He'll be a consistent guy, sure. I think he'll be consistent, but I don't think he'll ever be that guy that'll put up big numbers.
But Trenton, I don't even think he will be consistent, honestly. Uh, what do you think, Dylan? Do you think that he will have the second most targets behind Julian Edelman? I don't think so.
James White could, I guess, year one.
Yes.
Trenton, though, just quickly, I think we got a little off topic because I asked he's the best prospect in this class. I didn't ask about
Right, I know.
about targets. So is
wanted
he
to
like the
say
best prospect, most safe prospect, like the prospect you'd put money down on succeeding,
like out of all positions?
other than quarterback? I think.
No.
Or I probably
I
use this
forgot
DJ Hawkinson.
I forgot Hawkinson. Yeah.
Hawkinson
I
and
think I'll
Fant.
put my money on Hawkinson. Not Fant, but Hawkinson. I'll put my money on Hawkinson and then Harry. I forgot about Hawkinson.
Let me rephrase it then. But you do Hawkinson too, Trenton?
Yeah, I'd go Hawkinson. I'd go Montgomery. I'd potentially put Jacobs up there.
Montgomery and
Fant
Jacobs
might be up
over
there, and
Harry?
then Harry.
That's pretty bold. Just talking about prospect wise. I mean, all those guys have red flags. N'Keal Harry's red flag is Tom Brady, which is kind of overstated.
But N'Keal Harry doesn't have any red flags, but he's not great at anything. He's just decent
Yards
at
after
everything.
the catch, contested catches.
See,
Come on, man. You're being ridiculous.
You have all those other guys, I mean, sure, they have a few red flags here and there, but they also have a lot of other things that they're like top tier in that they're really, really good at. And Keel Harry's just that guy that's like he's good across the board. He's not great.
I disagree. His yards after the catch are literally top percentile. And even if you want to do that argument, what the heck's David Montgomery great at? Like super elite at? It's literally just balance. I could make an argument, and balance is one of those like iffy things. Like I don't get your logic there, because you just said you'd have David Montgomery over him, but David Montgomery's the exact same thing. Not the greatest pass catcher, not the greatest runner, not the greatest. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just confused on where you're going at.
I just
Uh-oh. We got him, boys. We got him, boys.
Montgomery, the thing he's good at is he's proven that he can handle a load. I mean, you have lots of other backs that will be like Josh Jacobs was more he played more in committee. Miles Sanders played relatively more committee than him. And then you have Montgomery, who's one of the few backs in this that's really top tier backs in this class that has been proven to be a workhorse back. Like in 2017, he had 258 carries. In 2018, he had 257 carries. And he also had quite a few receptions each of those years. He did really good. So, I mean, he's proven that he can be a workhorse. That's one of the things that I really, really, really like about a player. I like that. I think that's a really underrated top tier skill. Can this player carry the load, or does he have to be spread around with other players? And I think that's the one of the things that puts him over Harry in this case, because
As a prospect?
yeah, as a prospect,
Okay.
because I can see David Montgomery. It's proven that he can carry an elite level workload and do fine. All those other guys were not sure. That's what makes him stand out in the running back class. He's a really, really good running back prospect that is proven to be able to carry a workload.
All right. I want to move on here. I just want to say, Sonata, and you should totally check Facebook Messenger. And I want to talk. We've been talking about Harry, who apparently Sonata and I think are like super safe, but apparently just bust central. I'm kidding a little bit, but I want to move from super safe to super risky, and let's talk about DK Metcalf. I'm gonna have Trenton start us off here again because I'm curious with how many holes apparently are in Harry's game. What about DK Metcalf?
Metcalf, he's my, I think, currently 8th ranked guy. He's my 8th ranked guy in this draft. I'd take 7 other players over him in a rookie draft. He has all the he has the numbers. He has like the height, weight, speed. He's a freak and everything, but I just don't see the production. And I mean, I've heard really good things. The Seahawks have raved about him in so far throughout the summer, but I just don't. I have to see it before I believe it, and I just see so many holes in his game that I don't know if he'll be able to really translate.
Yeah, that's fair. Sanatan, I know you're kind of a part Seahawks fan. I guess
Yeah.
kind of like myself. I have family from Seattle. What do you think about DK?
So first of all, Trenton, like Seahawks always say great things about their players. So you cannot, that's one coach that you
That's a good
cannot,
point.
yeah, you cannot, read much into their comments because Pete Carroll loves everyone, even the, players who would not even make the roster. He loves them too. So,
Yeah.
but I like DK Metcalf because of the opportunity. Like, if I think Baldwin still had 6 targets per game last year. So I think Lockett will take up his role, but then who will take Lockett's role? I think Metcalf can do that, and PFF had very good grades on Metcalf. I think he has very less number of routes in his tree, but he is good at them, whichever they are like 2 or 3 routes only. He runs very well, but he's very good at them, and he has the measurables, so no problem there. I think he can be good in this offense, and Wilson is a elite quarterback, so I don't have to make a case there.
Um, really, really important question here. Hopefully nothing picked up there in the background. But all right, really important question. I think this is the most important question on the podcast so far. Would you rather have, let's say you need a cheerleader, someone like motivate you or talk you up? Would you rather have Miami or Seattle? Remember Miami, the people who hyped up Devontae Parker for years and years and years that everyone kept drafting him. Or would you rather have Seattle and Pete Carroll?
I mean, I would have rather have Seattle because there I am being, the cheerleader is the coach himself, whereas in Miami the cheerleaders are the beat writers. I would rather have the coach be the cheerleader for me.
They work
I
magic with
agree.
Devontae Parker, though. Why do they keep drafting this guy? Um, that's crazy. Moving on here, just talking about my perspective. He's just boomer bust. And with the draft capital so low, Pete Carroll doesn't give a shit, right? He'll start whoever the best player is. So good and bad, right? I mean, he's almost a third rounder. So if he's good enough, he's going to start. But he's just so dang raw. Man, he's got to take so many steps in his routes. He's like, listen, I don't watch film, but I don't need to watch film to realize this guy sucks at route running. I'm pretty sure me, no experience, could go run a better curl route than he can right now. He'll take like 5,000 steps. Man, to this day, DK Metcalf is still taking steps on his curl route as we're talking on this podcast, okay? Like, it's pretty bad. But he has pretty high ceiling on a great quarterback, too. The one thing I thought, if DK were to succeed, would be with an elite quarterback, and he got it. So, I think he's my rookie wide receiver 3. Where do you guys have him?
I have him, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah, he's my 4, I think. That's to say.
Well, I
So
mean, that's pretty fair.
yeah, I'm coming along on Paris Campbell a lot recently.
Me too. And I don't like it, but I am. What were you going to say, Trent, about DK?
Just yeah, I've said all I can. He's just I don't know. He's talented guy. I mean, he has all the skills, the measurables, but it's just I'm worried about his game overall being able to translate. And it's just that's what pushes them down because you have, in my opinion, you have Harry, Paris Campbell, and oh, what's his name? Hold on, I'll have to pull this up. I'm struggling right now. But
No
yeah,
problem.
I'd put those 3 guys ahead of Metcalf. Hold on, I have it pulled up.
Yeah. Someone
Um,
respond to my message, by the way. I put a message in the chat. Why we
but
let him pull up his statistic, but
AJ Brown, honestly, because he has a shaky quarterback situation, but he is going in to be uh the second guy or maybe the lead guy, and he's a lot more polished than Metcalf.
we do like polish here on the Fantasy Flavor podcast. Are we ready to move on here to a guy we've already talked about, Paris Campbell?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay, Paris Campbell. I guess I'll start it off here. I already talked a little bit about him, so I'm going to make this quick. Super raw guy, kind of gadgety. Landed in a great spot, though. The greatest, arguably, wide receiver landing spot. Hoarded by Paris Campbell. Personally, I mean, I think he was a late first rounder for me. I would have preferred maybe if they waited till 2020 and grabbed the first round guy just for the ultimate upside of like a wide receiver because it wasn't a guy I liked. Overall, though, great landing spot. T.Y. Hilton's a little older. He'll be mentored well. He could become the next T.Y. Hilton, maybe a little taller, a little younger. But overall, I'm just very, very grateful that at least one wide receiver went to Indianapolis, right? That's something cool. So he's my wide receiver 2, and I don't love it. I don't love anyone other than Harry. Truly, at the wide receiver position, it could be a mess, but I can see Paris Campbell succeeding in the NFL.
For sure. I love Campbell. I love his. He just reminds me of T.Y. Hilton so much, and what I've seen on tape and what I've seen, and I think he's with him coming in to learn behind T.Y. Hilton. That's perfect situation for him. Um, I don't know how much we'll get out of him, but he's lit it up so far in camp, and I really think he's going to fit well on this team because you'll have T.Y. Hilton, who's as he's progressed over the years, he's turned more from just the deep threat into a really, really solid route guy. And you'll have Paris Campbell come in and take the younger T.Y. Hilton role where he's the deep threat. And then you have, of course, one of Deion Kane and Devin Funches, who will be their possession red zone guy from the wide receiver position. So he comes into a really good situation for his play and what they need from him.
Yep. The other thing is that their O line is very good. So it will give them time to develop the routes, and he has the speed to go deep. So I really think it's a great fit for him. And again, who is the wide receiver number 2? You can argue it's Funches, but maybe not.
Right, and I think honestly, if he performs like he did last training camp before he went down from injury, Deion Kane could be their number 2. Because he was projected to be their number 2 last offseason before he got hurt because he was tearing it up in training camp. He was dominating. He was doing fantastic stuff. But I feel like he could do that. It could either be him or Funches, and then the slot guy will be Paris Campbell. But he could switch with T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton could come into the slot and put Paris Campbell on the outside. Those two will be interchangeable. But I'm hoping he fills more of that wide receiver 3 role on that offense. You can put another guy ahead of him to lead up there. And because Paris Campbell, I think he'll excel more from that wide receiver 3 role.
I think they had some video or something that showed that when they drafted Paris Campbell, they were like very excited about it. They really wanted him. So it looks like they really have some plans for him.
Oh, for sure.
I just don't know. I think he's super raw, right? If we're talking about one guy who I think could be like a later breakout, well, I already mentioned it. It's Paris Campbell. Just looking at his skill set, like he can do some things well, but he's got a long way to go. Luckily, his skill set fits in with the NFL, but with kind of a crowded offense that kind of spreads around the ball a lot, I could see him taking a little longer to really produce those numbers you'd be hoping he'd produce, considering the high draft capital you might have to put into a guy like him. So
But when
something
you
to
say
watch out for.
crowded offense, I don't really see crowded offense. Where do you see crowded offense? Like
It's
after
not.
T.Y.
Mhm.
Hilton, who else is there to, really cement their position as number 2? No one. He has the
And
shot
see,
to be number
see,
2.
as the number 2 wide receiver for that team, uh, over the years, Andrew Luck has loved his tight ends. So I think the tight end position as a whole could even be that number 2 wide receiver for them. Just the
Okay, sure.
position.
It's going to be a pretty fed number 2, considering you have Ebron and Doyle. I mean, you
Right.
combine those numbers, that's
And
going to be a pretty elite tight end.
even both of them have been out this offseason, and you've heard great things from their third tight end in Mo Ali Cox.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, Mo Ali Cox. I bet you he is a big something. Just kidding. No
Oh
more,
my
no,
God.
no more jokes there. Leave it. Wait, I can open my window to get some crickets if you want.
Did you mean
But
like he's a big Cox?
no,
Mo Ali
totally didn't
Cox?
mean that. No, no way, man. No way. But what I mean by crowded is even
Hmm.
though there's not like a talent there, it's just they like to spread the ball. It's true. They just like to spread the ball, and I can see him running more this year than passing with an improved defense. Hopefully, I'm healthy Marlon Mack. They also got Spencer Ware, who's, just a guy, but he can catch too. Granted, I don't think he's going to have much unless Marlon Mack goes down. But you know what I mean. Like, they have weapons there that can take it away. And Andrew Luck already likes to spread the ball around pretty much. So I could be wrong, but considering his skill set, where he's at now, and kind of how you have some bodies and names there who aren't necessarily as great as Campbell, but probably are more ready now to succeed. So, is there anything else we want to talk about Campbell?
Nope. I mean, just this class is not great. So, he is one of those rare, not rare. He is one of those good um, piece in this class. That's why he is number 2 for me.
T-Dog?
I totally agree.
Yeah. For me, I'd rather, if I'm on the clock and Paris Campbell's probably the best pick, I'd rather try to move back because it's all kind of like these next wide receivers are all kind of like in the same tier for me.
Agreed.
And maybe pick up an extra pick in the second round or a 2020 something would be optimal. Or even a player, just they're all the same tier for me. So Paris Campbell's not someone I own too much, if at all, even though I like him, just because I'd rather move back, and I move back. I get the deals done, and I win them. That's a model you should live with, one and done. Make a t-shirt. Yeah, we really got to open my window so we can get some crickets for my crap jokes, trying to keep the podcast lively. But I want to thank everyone so much for listening in here for 36 minutes of great content. We still got plenty of names here to talk about. We got tight ends and wide receivers. So let's start breaking them down here with an even more polarizing name here. I just want to give a little background of this next player. This player was probably a consensus 3rd to 4th round pick before a team reached on him that who might possibly have a positional need, but there's plenty of question marks on whether that positional need was met or not met. He's kind of a punt returner. He profiles similarly to the wide receiver we thought he'd be taking over. Do we have any guesses?
Mecole Hardman.
Miko.
Yeah, though they have the list. Gosh darn it. I
don't have the list. I just knew you
But
said
your description was good enough to
right.
identify.
You're that. I can describe things well, guys. Woohoo! Mecole Hardman.
Not yourself.
Ouch. There was recently news that came out here. We're recording this on the 29th of June, 2019. There's rumors coming out that the max he could get is a 4-game suspension, which I find ludicrous for moral reasons, and logically it doesn't make sense. That was reported by numerous sources, I believe, but it came from an insider for the Chiefs, so you don't know if there's bias there or not. Nothing's concrete. Like, it's all speculation, even probably that insider. I highly doubt they just tell him flat out the suspension. But obviously, if Tyreek Hill is there or not there, drastically affects Hardman's value. I'm kind of fading Hardman until I know what's up. Unfortunately, I grabbed him over Noah Fant, which I now regret, hearing that Tyreek Hill's suspension is going to be a lot shorter than anticipated. So, Mecole Hardman, what are we doing with this Tyreek Hill buzz of 4 games? We've heard a lot of different conflicting reports. It's all speculation. So, what do we think about my guy, Mecole Hardman?
So the bigger question here is about the Tyreek Hill extension. Like, even if he gets like 4 or 5 games suspension, are they going to give him extension? Because if not, then Mecole Hardman steps into his role next year, and he will be just as good. So again, I'm not. This year Hardman is not going to produce a lot, but at least from next year he can get that role. But looks like from what I have read, they are also planning to give him an extension. So then it really kills Hardman's value for me.
What do you think, T-Dog? We know you're higher on Tyreek Hill than, especially you don't think the suspension will be that long. So talk about what
Hardman.
you think about
I was high on when we didn't know the Tyreek Hill situation, but with what we've heard recently, I'm more shying away from Hardman. We've heard the reports, of course, that Tyreek Hill suspension could be just 4 games, but also on top of that, we've heard lots of reports from the Chiefs camp that Byron Pringle has been doing really, really, really well and could be that number 2 option if Tyreek Hill doesn't play behind Watkins. So that just puts another damper on Hardman's value, and it just I don't I was high on him, but I'm shying away now.
Yeah, it's hard, man, to know what you want to do about McCall Hardman, because hopefully we got my dad joke there. Can we get a boom? Anyways, nobody likes me today. Apparently I peed in everyone's coffee because no one likes me. But polarizing guy, I'm fading. I feel like everyone here's kind of fading till we know more, and we'll revisit him and it probably on the podcast once Tyreek Hill's suspension is set in stone. The ban hammer is hammered down, and we know what's up. How we feeling, guys? Are we ready to move on to our final wide receiver?
Yes.
Good.
I'm very excited to get to the tight end. So please, let's move on to the next wide receiver.
Man, you guys. All right. Well, that being said, here, how about we do this? What, Sanatan? How about you start off talking about AJ Brown, then T Dog, Trenton. You could talk about AJ Brown, and I'll finish off AJ Brown. Sound good?
So
Sure.
I mean, before the draft happened, AJ Brown was my favorite wide receiver, even more than Harry, because he is just a better route runner and a separator in the NFL. But then the draft happened, and he went to the one worst place that he could go to, with Mariota. He could not even carry forward Davis, who was again a great talent when he was drafted. So I don't really like his situation, and it seems that he might not even play slot there. And he's a great slot player. So if he's playing outside, I don't know how good he will do, since he will be out of his natural position. So I don't really like uh, his value for 2019, but moving forward, maybe in 2000, maybe next year he'll be very cheap and you can buy him next year.
Yeah,
Right.
Trenton. What do
I'm
you have to say?
I'm I don't like his value where it stands right now, like ADP and whatnot. But I think out of this class, he's the behind Harry. He's the most polished wide receiver prospect, and so I like him for the future. I just don't know if he'll be able to pass Corey Davis, another young draft pick for them. I don't know the quarterback situation, so I don't know where to go with all of this. But just going to stay. I'm just going to stay away from him as much as I can, personally.
Yeah, AJ Brown, definitely an interesting one here. Why? I'm trying to dig up a tweet that I found super interesting. Um, just about the Titans in general, but AJ Brown, he's my pre-draft wide receiver too. I thought Harry was a little more dynamic, but AJ Brown, I liked him. I thought he's the safest wide receiver in the class, and Donatson already echoed this, but or already said this, but I want to echo it with a little different perspective. It's the worst landing spot for AJ Brown. I would have preferred him on Baltimore, which was kind of the consensus worst landing spot. Oh no, I triggered the Baltimore fan. Oh no.
No, I agree with you. I'm not a delusional fan like you. I know my team's weaknesses and strengths.
Called
Yeah,
you
our
delusional.
strength is
Get wrecked.
winning Super Bowls. Our weakness is not having enough room to put our Super Bowl banners. I know, I
You're
know.
really your strength is cheating,
No, dude.
Ooh.
finding new ways to cheat every year.
Yeah,
Thinking,
you're
oh,
kind
I
of.
mean, I know I am sour because I wish I was a Patriots fan. But anyways, let's move on.
But no, just talking about it's just the worst landing spot because they signed Adam Humphries to a really solid deal. Um, and with that Adam Humphries deal, talked to my Bucks fan friend Justin, and he's like, Adam Humphries only plays the slot, dude. Like 80% slot share, 77 I think to be exact. Like he only plays the slot. So AJ Brown, the two things he's known for, he excels best in the slot, and then his second best trait is versatility. Corey Davis, 25% slot share snap share, excuse me. So Corey Davis is going to get in the slot too. Taywan Taylor had a little bit. Tajay Sharp had a lot. I believe his was around 25%, 30% too. So where's AJ Brown going to fit in the slot? So the thing he excels at the most, gone. Versatility. It kind of looks like a bland offense to me. Corey Davis probably going to play the X. He'll play the Y. And then Adam Humphries in the slot. There's not much you can move him around, really. There's some, but it's not as creative versus those nice mismatches versus linebackers. Done. The favorite thing about A.J. Brown, though, was his ability to immediately contribute. He's not going to do that on this Titans offense. And I especially think that is because Corey Davis broke out last year and nobody cares. I'm going to say this all summer long. Corey Davis broke out and nobody cares. It's true. There's no other way to put it. And I'm going to back that up. It's just because he had a 26% target share. That's a lot, right? And his yards per target were pretty low at 8. But if he was on Pittsburgh last year, for example, he would have had 1,400 plus yards. But due to the Titans offense being that bad, he had 900. Think about it. He broke out last year. He dominated. It's just the fact that the offense is so bad it doesn't look like he did. So Corey Davis is good. That's my point. So he's a number 2 wide receiver on a really bad offense.
No, I kind of agree with you that, I think Corey Davis is really, I mean, he did well for his part, but then the quarterback play was really, really bad. So what can you do?
Yeah. His ceiling is honestly Robert Woods. And I could go buy Robert Woods his third year in the NFL for like a 3rd round pick. I'm
What?
fading AJ Brown and I'll buy it later. No, I'm talking about when Robert Woods came into the NFL.
Okay,
Remember,
okay.
he was stuck on Buffalo? Like
Yeah,
his
yeah,
third
yeah.
year in. Now he's pretty cool, right? You want Robert
Yeah,
Woods.
exactly. I totally agree. Yep. The offense really
That's
makes,
his ceiling.
the offense really makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Target offenses and redrafts, target players and talent in Dynasty.
But
Which I guess we're in
imagine,
Dynasty, but it's going
but
to take a while.
but imagine Hollywood Brown, like he's a great talent, but would you invest in him in Dynasty even though he's in Baltimore? You have to look at the offensive situation even in Dynasty.
No, I agree with that, but I value talent more in Dynasty because it's a longer term outlook, and situations can change so quickly.
Then Hollywood Brown was selected before Harry. Why don't you keep him as your 101?
Because it's more than that. I'm just saying, like, one of the most important things is talent.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think we are saying the same thing.
But A.J. Brown's ceiling is Robert Woods, and I could buy Robert Woods' 3rd year in the NFL, not on the Rams, his 3rd year in the NFL, for probably like a 3rd round pick. Maybe like a 2nd, like max, right? So that's like his ceiling, and that's him going to like a historically good offense in the Rams. So that's kind of his ceiling. His floor, out of the league in a couple of years. Sorry, but the offense could be that bad that he just doesn't produce, and then they cut him. Anything else we want to say about A.J. Brown before we move on to your guys' man crush, DJ Hawkinson?
Yeah, please.
Man, Trent's quiet today, so I want to start T-Dog off here with TJ Hawkinson. Maybe get him a little more excited here. Talk to me about your man crush.
Hawkinson, just based on skill, like his skill-wise, talent-wise, potential-wise, could be the next Gronk. He stacks up to Gronk, like just his play style, everything he does really just reminds me of Gronk, and I think that's it. He could honestly reach that level, and he could really blow up. But for the first year, I'm kind of shying away because we don't know, and we all know that Detroit has had troubles with tight ends. But I think he could, within a few years, he will be one of the top tight ends in the league.
Oh, totally agree. I think he
Yeah.
will do really good even this year. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I know many people don't agree with it, but I feel he will do very, very good even in his first year. Um, because he will be on the field a lot because of his blocking. So I really feel he will be. I mean, I think he will be a top 12 tight end this year for sure. I can bet on it. Hot take, right, Dylan? Hello?
Um. Yeah, I'm here. I'm thinking. I disagree, pretty much. I think they're gonna run out of the time. You know their OC, Daryl Bevel, I think it is.
Yeah,
And
Yep.
yeah, he runs it a ton. You know that as a Seattle fan. He likes to run, 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 run. Tight
yeah,
ends, especially ones that can block, earlier on, don't get involved too much. I think he's one of the best talents in this class. But, it's going to take him a while. OJ Howard was another really, really great tight end. I remember seeing him in mock draft school as high as 8. Great, great talent. But just he didn't produce right away. Granted, Cameron Brate was there. Um,
exactly.
yeah, but
But
Jesse James isn't bad either.
oh
They
my
want to use
God,
TJ Hawkinson
please,
to block.
please, Jesse, you cannot.
Jesse James is not bad. He isn't. I'm not gonna act like he's Wendell Small with the goat, but you know,
Mm, no, Jesse James will only be there in two tight end sets. That's the only reason he is there.
TJ Hawkinson will be in blocking prison this year. Even Gronk, the great Gronk, who you keep comparing him to, which is completely blasphemy, um, didn't produce his rookie year. Come on, guys. Like I know he's gonna be in block prison. Noah Fant's gonna produce better year one than Hawkinson.
Okay, so
Skill sets.
when
Right.
Gronk.
Year one, Fant will produce more,
I'm
but
not saying
in the
I don't
long
like
run,
Hawkinson. I just think you might be able to buy him a little cheaper next year. That's my point. Rookie tight ends don't
Oh,
succeed. Evan Ingram had one of the best rookie tight end seasons, and he had like 700 freaking yards, dude.
no, I agree with all of I always say the same thing. Like wide receiver and tight ends, you can always buy cheaper the next year. But with Hawkinson, I personally, it's just gut feeling. I feel that he will be very good this year, and I totally disagree with the Fant will be better than Hawkinson this year. I personally don't agree with it.
I'll take that bet.
You wanna?
Yeah.
Okay. How much? $2?
No, I'll bet Tyreek Hill. You have to trade me Tyreek Hill in all your leagues. No, I'm kidding. You have to send me over your whole fantasy team. That's what a real fantasy nerd would bet. But no, we can figure out some type of bet. But I'm just telling you, Hawkinson, it might not be a good thing that he can block, at least earlier on. Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay, I could see getting more targets. And I could see the running backs combined getting more targets. So he could be like the fourth option. That's a realistic outcome.
I think
He's such
blocking
a
is
great
always
blocker.
blocking is always a plus for a tight end. Like if you are blocking, you are on the field, and you cannot just the tight ends they get receptions on a design play where you show that you are running, but then the tight end sneaks out and gets a reception. That's how tight ends get receptions. So if you are there as a blocker, you have much more chance of getting a reception than if you are not.
exactly. With a blocking tight end, they stay on the field more. They will be on the field. And it's just a proven fact. They're going to be on the field 90% of plays if they can block and catch. And that's just why I feel Hawkinson will be a good player. I don't think he'll be as good as like fully talented year one, but I think he could have a year two Gronk like rise. He could be like one of the best tight ends in the NFL year two, like similar to how Gronk. Well, I mean, sure he won't put up the same totals, but in year two, I think he'll put up similar stats with like Gronk had 90 catches for 100 or 1,300 yards and 17 touchdowns. I think I could see Hawkinson getting year two, getting over 1,000 yards and over 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Patricia will be out of Detroit after this year. They'll get an
No, he'll stay
offensive
one more
mind.
year.
He sucks. Like he sucks, and they are just ruining the franchise. Once he's out, then they will get an offensive mind, and then Hawkinson will dominate. And the only problem with Lions is the head coach. I mean, I love Kerryon Johnson, I love Hawkinson, but again, they are just misusing their good players. That's the only knock on Hawkinson right now for me, that
I
he's
did.
on the Lions.
I disagree because Daryl Bevel, as much as I want to say he's run heavy, Jimmy Graham also had great years in Seattle under him too. So I don't know if it's going to be such a transformation due to the OC. It might just be TJ Hawkinson developing. He's a great prospect. But we've seen Vernon Davis. We've seen Eric Ebron. These kind of tight ends don't produce right away. Even OJ Howard, like he was another one that was put up in this conversation. Like they don't
The-
produce. I'd
but
rather go back next year and then buy TJ Hawkinson cheaper.
I think OJ
I'm
Howard had
trying to.
two issues. One, he had already a set a tight end in Brett whom Winston just loved. They had a bromance going on at that time. The other thing was that I think OJ Howard was injured, wasn't he, in his rookie season for quite some time. So he could not take part in training camp and those things. That might be one of the reason. So
Maybe, but like we've had such a huge sample size. Tight ends just don't produce right away. And even if they do have like historic level seasons like Evan Ingram at 700 yards,
I
you
think
know,
Lions don't have weapons, and I really feel that
Marvin Jones
that
and Kenny Galladay are pretty
both of
solid
them
wide
are no,
receivers.
but both of exactly, and both of them are like field stretchers. I think Hawkinson will, do his damage in middle of the field. Again, as I said, I'm totally fine with you not agreeing on this because I think I'm alone, and maybe T Dog is kind of with me in this.
In the
But
middle.
most, yeah,
Yeah.
but most of the people don't believe it. I just have a gut feeling that he will do really well
Hey
this year.
man, trust your gut. But what I'm gonna tell the viewers right now is wait a year on Hawk and buy him lower. That's what I'm telling you. People are gonna be so hyped about 2020. You might be able to sell a second 2020 second rounder for Hawkinson. I'm telling you, the hype's gonna be that crazy.
Yeah, but buy him at the middle of this year or end
Yeah.
of this year,
Mhm.
because once the season is over and Patricia is out and they get a offensive minded coach, then again he will be totally hyped up and his price will go up. That's what
Yeah,
I feel.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But
Yeah.
we talked mainly about Hawkinson. We did a little bit of Hawkinson versus Fant, but I just want to give Fant his own moment in the spotlight here. I mean, Fant is an incredible receiver, right? He has a few flaws. He's still a little raw, like not the best route running. Some drop concerns, but he can make spectacular catches, right? His
Yeah.
highlights are insane, right? If you just pulled up highlight versus highlight, Fant's are probably better than Hawkinson's. The guy's Evan Ingram, but bigger and can block. Not a great blocker, but can block, right? Like you're not going to be afraid to put Noah Fant out there because he's going to get dominated. What are our thoughts on Noah Fant?
You wanna go first, T Dog?
Yeah, I like Fant more year one. I think he'll be more of that Evan Ingram guy year one. But for the long term, I still take Hawk. But Fant is a really talented receiving tight end, so he could. I think both of them end up having fantastic careers, and it's just they'll both be great fantasy backs for the long run.
Yeah, I didn't imagine them playing running back, but that'd be pretty great. D-Dog's pretty tired right now, so
Yeah. Yeah.
running
Well,
back.
well,
We
they
love
both
you,
have the
dude.
body to be running back.
Dude, they're gonna
Sorry.
take on like 500 carries a freaking season. 101. Smash the table. Oh man, oh man. Yeah. What are your thoughts on fans? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing pushing Pant you know to do good this year is for me is Flacco, because he doesn't, he just sees the middle of the field and throws there. The other thing that I read was that the coaches were not very happy with Fant in this whatever mandatory mini camp that the rookies had. So I don't put too much thoughts on when the coaches are happy about someone, but I really put thought on when the coaches are not happy with someone. So I feel that Fant will not be there on the field on a lot of snaps, and that might, really hit his production. So I'm not very high on Fant like Trenton is or you are probably. And
That's
that's the reason I like Hawkinson much more than Fant.
pretty bold, you know. I think they're pretty close. I could see one. I know you guys are pretty high in Hawk, but I think there's a realistic path where Noah Fant could be the better fantasy tight end throughout his career. Looking at
I,
skill sets.
I don't see it.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's teleport into the future, guys.
Yeah,
Is
let's
there? Go ahead.
go ahead. I mean, anyways, it was a lame joke. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I want to hear this lame joke.
Nothing. Go ahead. The
Well, I was gonna say, do we have any closing thoughts here about just kind of the tight ends here?
No, it's
Mm,
like only two Titans. Of Smith's value has been totally crushed by the Rudolph, Kyle Rudolph's signing. And again, this I really feel Hawkinson is in a different tier than Fant. Most people don't, but I really do.
I've already said what I wanted to say. I think both
Yeah.
will have fantastic careers in the long run. They're both going to be fantastic fantasy tight ends for a long time.
Well,
I
if
also
you'd
think
like,
that we haven't discussed a few receivers that if you really want to quickly touch upon.
yeah, sure. Let's do. How about we do a rapid fire kind of segment here of just wide receivers we missed out on that you want to talk about something? Sure, we're just hitting over an hour here. So thank you everyone for listening. Let's see how this last segment goes. Take it away.
Yeah, for example, Debo Samuel. I really think he will do really good in San Francisco because of the opportunity, and there is no number one like receiver. Although Pettis is, but he has not yet solidified his number one status. So he's a great pick. I think I would pick him before Hardman at this point. Um, other than that, I really like Deontay Johnson. I've heard good things about him, his route running, and I think if he gets separation, then Big Ben is a good enough quarterback to target him a lot. So I think he's a great pickup in round two. Anyone else you guys want to quickly touch upon?
No,
Sorry for the background noise.
I agree. Samuel is a great receiver. He's going to probably be one of the lead guys in the offense. He'll be possibly that team's wide receiver one this year. I just don't know how long term he'll do.
All right, Tebow Samuel, you're gonna get me into a rant here. You guys did it. What a bad draft pick. I think he fits perfectly, but he's literally kind of like Dante Pettis. They both kind of play like that wide flanker role.
Yeah,
I'm lower on Samuel year one because he got a groin injury and he's had injury problems already. He's a little
oh,
older, so he could contribute immediately, but he had a groin injury in training camp, and those linger. Remember Doug Baldwin's groin? Granted,
yeah,
different, but you know what I mean. Like those linger. That's my point. And I avoid the hammies and the groins. That's why I'm avoiding Miles Sanders. That's why I traded him away to try to maybe buy him back later, maybe not buy him back later, whatever. You know, because I avoid those lingering injuries, and the groin's one of them. So I'm kind of off on him. But John Lynch, low key, even as kind of low we are in DK Metcalf, I think he would have fit what they're trying to do better. Because Pettis and Samuel, they're kind of like the same player. They do like the same thing. I'm kind of confused because you want different players that fit different roles. Low key, John Lynch, I can't tell if he's a good GM or not because Nick Bosa, a great player. Matt Kelly went on this. I'm not the biggest Matt Kelly fan, but he's kind of like you're gonna have one of the most pro-Trump guys in one of the most Trump-hated areas. It was just funny, but I'm interested to see what happens in San Francisco. I could totally see him disappointing again. We'll really get to see Jimmy Garoppolo has no excuse. Patriots system quarterback or actual starting NFL quarterback. We'll find out.
No, I really like Shanahan's system. That's the only thing. Like, his designs are so good that the defense has a lot of problems, and they use their backs really well. So I am very excited about their running backs. I just don't know which one. but but I am very excited about their running back situation this year. And their offense in general, not having a bona fide wide receiver one can hurt them, but other than that, Shannon's system can really make even average players look very good. So
100%.
yeah.
The last player I
Anyway,
want to bring up, if that's okay, I have one more player that
please,
I feel
please.
like we've missed out on and we really need to talk about. Remember when I brought up earlier that like around 70+% or something like that, ridiculously high number, I don't know the exact number, of wide receivers drafted in the second round that are you have elite quarterback already on the team, like they hit so much. JJ Arcega Whiteside. I
It's not
mean, this is
Arcega, it's Arcega Whiteside.
what?
Did you not see his tweet? It's not C. It's pronounced as TH instead of C. It should be Arcega Whiteside.
Whatever, dude.
Okay.
Whiteside, not Hassan Whiteside. This other Whiteside that I can't pronounce his name. I don't care how he wants it pronounced because I own him in my leagues if I can. Because he went to a team that specializes in third down and red zone. His two best skill sets. Perfect fit, right?
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey, injury prone. Nelson Aguilar could be moved. Deshaun Jackson, old. He could be the perfect year 3 wide receiver breakout. And he's already has a lot of positive training camp buzz. So overall, nice breakout age, college dominator. I like him. I think he might take a little while, but he's going to be pretty good as long as they don't draft anybody else. But I'm not looking to 3 years in the future. Anything you want to say, Trenton, before we wrap things up here on the pod?
No, I'm perfectly fine with everything that's been said.
Yeah. I mean, I
John?
really like
Mhm.
Arcega Whiteside.
Yeah, I love him. I draft
Yeah.
him in the late first, depending on how my team looked.
Mostly because he's in a great offense. That's really, really important.
Yeah, offenses, they can kind of matter in fantasy just a little bit. They matter a lot, guys. I'm going to wrap things up here. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day here to listen to the podcast. We're having a blast. We got the whole squad back. We're going to pump out content like you've never seen before. It's going to be so great. So make sure you subscribe on iTunes, on the podcast, on YouTube. Follow Twitter's in the description if you're curious about what we do here and just want to follow and stay tuned with us. And we'll see you guys next time with more great content. Have a good one.